Episode 19?
19.
I got to continue what we talked about in episode 18. Don't start the music yet. I got a question for you.
Okay.
This right here. Why is there a gold plunger in the studio?
It is.
I'm not looking for a specific thing. I mean, anything would shock me on this.
It's an award for our sports podcast. At the end of the sports podcast, now the sports podcast, which is called From the Stands, that is Zach's baby. Okay, he asked if we could do this. I said absolutely. So we record it. We put it on YouTube. It is the sports show for people that don't know sports, but want to have a general understanding.
Man, that's like most people.
It's a college sports show.
Yeah,
we mostly do football and basketball. College baseball doesn't really get the traction, nor does he really know college baseball like I do. So we do football, basketball, take a break, come back next football season.
All right.
So at the end of the show, he awards the Golden Plunger, and that's usually for a crappy performance.
Oh,
and
somebody does.
So plunge it, get it out your system, and then come back next week.
Oh, is it for a listener, that
No.
audience member, or you're plunging like a player that does something dumb?
Usually a team.
Okay.
It has been the referees a couple of times this year.
Yeah. It's
Duly noted.
Okay, well, a plunger. Now, I would never do this because most people use a plunger incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to, you see this inside right here?
Yes.
You're supposed to pull that out.
That's right.
So in case you're listening, you got to imagine this. Go grab the plunger out of your bathroom. Most people just shove it on the toilet and just start smashing. You're supposed to reach in. I don't know.
That's what you want to do.
I don't know who would do that with a plunger, because if you're plunging, I mean, it's like, it's been in the poo, right?
It ain't good.
Yeah, so you got to reach in and you pull it out to where it has like that little inside out, and then you stuff that down in the...
Creates a better suction.
Yeah, and then, man, that's okay. So, well...
The Golden Plunger.
I'm going to give the Golden Plunger
From the Stands
to whoever uses the plunger correctly by sticking their hand inside of the used plunger. You win the Golden Plunger.
But you could use the toilet brush, put it in there, and pull the edges out without having to touch it with your hand.
In theory.
That's also going to...
Yeah, but now you're slinging. Yeah, it's like when
you
you brush your teeth and you start slinging. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that's just not going to work.
It's a whole gross situation altogether.
All right, cue the music. There we go. We were talking about waiting a little bit in the previous episode. I was dialoguing about this book, Stronger, and I said I'm going to talk about the book, not talk you through the book. And the whole idea was, for me, this whole concept of teaching about leadership, particularly for guys, to lead strong and love even stronger, it was really this concept. I felt like God put it on my heart, and then it got derailed. And it got derailed in part because of one of my big failures, going through a divorce. I mean, what even qualifies you to teach about that? I'm gonna tackle that a little bit in this episode. But I wanted to share it. You can access the content absolutely free. I'm not going to podcast you through the content, because if you want it, go grab it. Link in the show notes. Totally free audiobook, or if you're a reader, you can read through the book. Here's the truth about waiting and delay in the Bible. All right, so let me give you a couple of examples, and then we'll pick up with the 7 points that we began last time. And then I got so much work to do in this episode. But I'm gonna land it on time.
You're gonna grind through this.
Yeah, we're not gonna rush it, but we're gonna get it done. Okay, so waiting in the Bible. If you are right now waiting on a dream, and particularly, I'm not talking about dreams. It's like, oh, it'd be nice to go do, whatever, hunky dory. I'm talking about something you feel like God has impressed you with. You might even say this: God promised you. So think about the disciples that are in the upper room in Acts chapter 2. They are waiting for the coming of the Holy Spirit for 10 days. Jesus promised them. And then they're stuck. They don't even know what they're waiting for. Like, they have no grid to even understand what this is. 10 days. It's Acts 2:1. Daniel, this is kind of a famous one. He prayed for an answer. Daniel 10, verse 12. He waited 21 days to get an answer to a prayer. Man, I think most of the stuff I give up after just a few. Mm-hmm. Or I write it in a journal, and then I look back, I forget, and then look back like 6 months later. Oh, I was praying for this.
that's good.
Esther for the night with the king, she was prepping. We all know that story. What you forget is that, according to Esther 2:12, she was kind of in hold in the harem, prepping for that night for a full year. It wasn't just like, okay, come on up, gal. Full year. Joseph, coat of many colors, Joseph, Genesis 41, it says that he got extended an additional 2 years of wait in the prison before one of the former inmates remembered him. And it was a guy that had promised, hey, I'll remember you. When I'm set free, man, I won't forget my guy that gave me this word. Jacob waited to marry Rachel 14 years total time that he worked for her hand in marriage. Genesis 29, verse 20, verse 30. King David. You notice these are all getting longer, right? We've gone from 10 days, 21 days, 1 year, 2 years, 14 years, 15 years-ish. David is anointed as king and then finally coronated as king. 15-year gap between 1 Samuel 16:12 and 2 Samuel 5:4. A decade and a half of delay. Abraham was promised he's going to be the father of many nations. He's going to have a son, and he waits. Isaac is born between Genesis 12:4, when it's promised, and Genesis 21:1. And remember, in the interval, he tried to take matters into his own hands, and it turned out horribly. 25-year delay. 25 years. Joshua and Caleb, from the time they spied out the promised land and brought back a favorable report until the time they actually walked in and went to conquest, 40 years. It's Numbers 14:34. There's this gal that waited because God promised her, she was a woman of prayer, that she would see Jesus before she died. She would see the Messiah. According to Luke 2:36, the prophetess Anna waits 84 years. And then finally, her prayer right there in Luke 2 is like, okay, you can dismiss me now. Take me into heaven. I saw it.
Wow.
Noah works on the ark according to Genesis 6:3, 120 years. Oh,
insane.
Yeah, and so, I'm complaining about waiting like 2, 3, 4 years, or waiting a year and a half, or waiting, 6 months, 2 weeks. Here's the deal. None of these people were able to manufacture a move of God, but you can do something during that term of waiting. It if you approach it like this time of active waiting instead of just sitting and waiting. Like if you go out to eat, you guys ever go out to eat and they give you that little buzzer? Well, now so much they don't do the buzzer. They used to. They give you
get a text.
Yeah, you get a text. Yeah. If you go out and you're out with friends, you might just talk and it's active and you're passing the time and you're enjoying it, but your kids are just sitting there like stewing.
Miserable. Yeah. Can I get on your phone?
That's not the way to wait.
No.
The way to wait is like actively engaging. What do we do while we're here? Hebrews 11:37 says that some people, they waited the whole lifetime and still didn't receive what they were promised. Like, I'm just hoping I'm not in that camp. Like the payoff is not promised. Here's one more. 2 Peter 3:9 says that right now Jesus actively waits. He's waiting to return to come get us all. He's on hold also. And according to him, no one knows the time. This is Mark. Not the angels, not the Son, only the Father. Wrap your head around that.
How many times do we, as Christians, have to quote that scripture and throw it at people that keep thinking they know the final day? It's like you say you believe this, but
regularly
you're completely wiping out the scripture altogether. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get
because we like to peg dates and times for all the stuff that we're waiting on, and just know, hey, here's when the. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we don't like the wait. So in the previous episode, I was talking about, 7 things that happen when you wait. I'm not going to re-dialogue through them. I'm going to tell you what they are. Number 1 was your prayers get answered in the right way. Number 2, there are people that move out of orbit and people that move into orbit that sometimes you didn't know. So God's arranging people. He's rearranging the chairs on the bus. Number 3, preparation and skill for you grows. Number 4, provision kicks in. Here's the ones that I want to dialogue about in this episode. Number 5, plans and ideas increase. So somehow the way that you're going to implement whatever it is that you're doing, like your best ideas right now that you have when you're waiting, it will turn out a lot better because of the wait. Like if you rush to implement right this second, you'll do what you know right now, what you can do, but so many times in the wait, the idea gets bigger, it gets broader, it gets more refined, it gets deeper, it matures, it fleshes out. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that's probably happened here in the radio station and all this kind of stuff with what you guys have going on, like kind of waiting right now to move from one location to the next. Like all of a sudden, man, ideas come in. You were just telling me, like you got a guy that's like advising you now. They're like, that's a new, like that was number 2 on the list. People come in, like it just kind of, it just starts working. The plan, the idea, it just matures. Number 6, patience grows. We often feel rushed. I think we have this propensity to feel like we're running out of time, but we're not. I remember, graduating from high school thinking, I didn't think life was over, but I felt like, I got to get on with stuff. Like I got to, and then you get through college and you're thinking, I got to do my next thing right now. And then you feel like when you're 30, you're running out of time. And then you get later in life and you're like, golly, back then I had all the time in the world. And what we see in the scripture is Ephesians 2:8-10, that grace saved you and God planned before time began great works that you would walk in, that would be empowered by grace. So he's already prepared the very thing that you are waiting on. And I get it. You wish that he'd hurry up and like just accelerate the timeline. But think back, prayer answered the right way, people coming into orbit, preparation, skill, provision coming, plans and ideas growing, and patience developing. Acts 13:36 says that David served God's purpose for him in his own generation. We're promised that we'll do the same thing. So if it's something that God's put on your heart, it's a dream that he's placed inside of you, you kind of get to step back and go, all right, what is all this stuff that I can accumulate and acquire in the process while this patience grows? James talks about patience growing and having its perfect work so that you'll be complete, mature, lacking nothing. I mean, honestly, a lot of times I'm not patient, which means I'm probably lacking a whole lot. That's the truth of it.
How often do we disrupt the timeline because of impatience, where we are trying to force the hand of God, essentially move on our own, and then those mistakes are calculated into the fact that, hey, somewhere within you doing your own thing, I was going to provide, but you were already so far in this hole that you couldn't actively see this. You couldn't actively embrace this. You could not move forward because you had to fix the thing that you did on your own first.
Well, think about Abraham. So Abraham goes in and he accelerates the timeline of when they're going to have a child, because Sarah's barren.
Right.
And so instead of waiting the 25 years, and he did not know how long he's going to have to wait for this, by the way. He just realizes decade has passed, and so he takes it in his own hands, goes and sleeps with Hagar, his wife's handmaiden, which in that culture was an acceptable way to do it culturally, has a child, Ishmael, and so now has 2 women in the household that are fighting with each other. One of them wants to put the other one out, so his wife does, mistreats her, abuses her. He has 2 kids that are now rivals. I mean, the whole Arab race traces back to Ishmael. The Jews trace back to Isaac. Like, I mean, we're still dealing with that chaos today. You go to the Middle East, and the Gaza Strip, Hamas, all of that. Like you trace it all back. Go, man, we are still handling at some level those issues. Just to be very simplistic about it. And yeah, I mean, I'll look at it and go, man, I jumped ahead of God on that. Well, now I got to. He'll still accomplish what he wants to accomplish through you.
Absolutely.
But man, now I've got extra added sideways energy.
You just essentially proved the butterfly effect. Because when we do things on our own, instead of the way they were supposed to naturally happen, stuff changes.
It just creates stuff. Yeah, it's extra. It's all kinds of. There's this phrase that I read somewhere. You've heard it. It says something like this. It's popular on coffee cups, and it's popular on calendars and T-shirts and bumper stickers, which probably tells you about how valuable it is. It's not about the destination; it's about the journey. Mm-hmm. Cue that up. Amber will make that on a T-shirt and sell it.
No, she won't.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
there's plenty of it. We're not doing that.
I mean, really, if it's, it can actually be both, and if we step back, go, no, it is about, it's both. It's about what's this dream? Where's God taking me? And then also, while I'm in this season of patient persistence, what am I accumulating, acquiring here? I think number 7 is, while you're in a season of waiting, kind of your passion for the thing grows, or it disappears and completely wanes. And if it disappears and wanes and evaporates, you got to think, man, did I really want to do that project thing anyway? And so in that sense, sometimes the waiting is a gift, because if the passion for it's going to increase, man, when you finally get to it, boom, it's going to happen. And there's going to be more intensity. There's going to be a greater fire on it. But if it disappears, man, did you really want to be stuck in the middle of that anyway? If it would just, does that make sense? If it would just disappear because you had a little bit of a wait, something to think about. I was thinking about waiting from a practical standpoint. And when you just look through history of people, we talked about waiting from a biblical standpoint of kind of timelines of waiters in the Bible. But if you look at waiters, culturally speaking, Oprah Winfrey, she was fired from her first job as a TV news anchor, and then gets to kind of wait before she makes her debut. I mean, now everybody knows. Like, you don't even use her last name. You just use her first name.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, he was fired from Apple, and then gets put into this hold pattern. But during that wait, I mean, that's when some of the best projects that he started developing came to fruition. That's when really he developed more of the personal computing ideas with Next. That's really when Pixar and some of those other ideas start coalescing. And during that wait, don't forget that he later had to have Microsoft, which was, quote, the arch enemy, come financially invest and bail Apple out. Remember people booing him on stage for that?
Mm-hmm.
Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because of his, quote, lack of imagination and creativity. So it just kind of extends the wait. Of course, now, Disney, love them or hate them. I mean,
they own half the world.
Yeah,
seems.
I mean, he eventually made it.
Yeah,
So he's succeeded. A guy named Sachiro Honda. He really was passionate for cars, but was fired from his first job as a mechanic. But like now, I mean, like the cars that are the most reliable, they tend to be Honda.
Mm-hmm. Well, and beyond, Honda makes motorcycles, generators, they make a ton of stuff, lawnmowers, yeah.
I was watching a documentary not too long ago on, I think this one was on Hulu. It was about Steven Spielberg. Did you know he was rejected from USC's filmmaker school? Not once, multiple times.
Wow.
I mean, how would you like to be the person that was like, yeah, we wouldn't let Spielberg into our school, not into nursing school, I mean, like into filmmaking school. And then many thought Jaws would be the end of his career because of the time that it took. It kept overrunning on time. It kept overrunning on budget. But really, it launched his career to a really higher level and became one of the standards in filmmaking. But it all started with some kind of weight, failure. I mean, that's kind of one of the mixes I think you're seeing in this. It's not just weight, but there's failure, and there's people that are kind of figuring it out along the way. And then infamously, there's this Michael Jordan commercial. It's from years ago. I mean, I think this was on when I was in college. He didn't make the high school basketball team.
Right.
And then he talked about all of these times that he'd be entrusted with the game-winning shot and missed. And talking about just this delay and failing and this waiting, but that's the success. Sometimes I don't think you can separate waiting from failing and waiting from failing and figuring it out how you move forward. Like that might be one of the biggest parts of the wait. Think about this from back to maybe the biblical standpoint of waiting, failing, figuring stuff out. Today, if you wanted to learn about God's acceptance of us, despite our failures coupled with his absolute perfection and holiness, you tend to go read Paul, right? Paul was the one who was, quote, blameless in his obedience, and yet he was the ultimate legalist. Yet the legalist, which you would think that would be a failure in understanding grace, eventually he boomerangs into and is the communicator of absolute grace by living out that trajectory over a long haul. Make sense? If you want to learn about marriage, romance, sex, you tend to go read the words of Solomon, Song of Solomon, who married, now catch this, over a very long life, a long wait, and finally maybe at the end of his life got it right, 700 women, 300 concubines. It's like delay and failure and finally figuring it out. If you want to learn about restoration, you go read the words of the man after God's own heart, David, who found himself falling for a married woman, impregnated her, tried to trick her into sleeping with her husband, or tried to trick her husband into sleeping with her, and then had him murdered to cover it up when he wouldn't. Psalms 51. Talk about a delay in walking out the long haul and all the ramifications of trying to fix it himself. Not that we're trying to, what would the word be? Spiritualize past sin or bad choices or hurts that we make during the wait or along the way. But somehow, if you have these failures like Paul, like Solomon, like David, even like some of these others that waited for so long and have these failures like Disney and Honda and Spielberg and Jordan and Winfrey and Steve Jobs. And if you make the failure in the wait, like not be a period, but a comma to where it continues on with the story, it doesn't get the end of the story. It means like, hey, something else is coming after this. And there's a fulfillment that's going to continue. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you do that too, it means that the learning that you acquire during the wait doesn't get isolated only to you. So Paul could have learned about grace and God accepting him and then left it there. Solomon could have learned about, oh man, I jacked up what male-female relationships were designed to be and then left it there. David could have learned about failure and redemption and then left it, but when you share the story and then speak from the pain point, the problem that you went through, and then the ultimate potential that you found after the wait, after the delay, it passes on the lesson to others. Somebody told me this: experience is a good teacher. And it is. You're shaking your head right there. Here's the problem with experience, though. It eats up your most valuable asset, which is your time. And then you got to learn the lesson yourself, which means you tend to get some road rash. Here's another one. I think evaluated experience is better than just experience, because if you evaluate it, then you go, okay, I learned the lesson from that, never doing that again. I think an even greater level is leaning into the evaluated experience of other people. And then if you are the one that has the evaluated experience, sharing it so that others, when they get in that season of wait, they get in that season of delay, they get in the season of trying to figure out whatever it is that you figured out that you're waiting on, they can acquire those lessons as well. Sometimes I'm going to put a link down in the show notes to Amplify. That's the platform where we help people multiply, monetize their message, get paid for what they know. So if you're a content creator, you're a writer, you're a communicator, you're a teacher, you got a course idea, all that, like you're a book person, all that's for you. One of the things that we teach people on Amplify is so often you are, especially if you've been through this season of waiting and it was combined with failure of some sort that caused the waiting. Okay, like much like my dilemma with, I want to teach these guys how to lead well. Oh, golly, I just went through a divorce type situation. Is what you find out is that your failure combined with the wait and what you walked through sometimes makes you best equipped to serve the people who are now living the former version of yourself. Even if it's not a one-to-one correlation. I mean, like, so you don't have to go through a divorce in order to learn some of the lessons that, like, I've got and learned, the absolute hard way. But often, if you will share with people the struggle that you endured about the wait, the struggle that you endured about whatever problem point you were trying to fix, the struggle that you endured because you got this dilemma that you just want to see change, if you'll share with them the search that you went on to try to fix that, share with them the solution that you found, and then, hey, now there's kind of a system or there's kind of some structure that you can implement into your life. Make sense? It starts serving them at a higher level. And I think that's why, even now, if we want to learn about grace, we go to Paul, who was the legalist and overcame. If we want to learn about marriage and dating, romance, we go to Solomon, who was he's a womanizer, and then probably got it right. If we want to learn about redemption and restoration, you go to David, the one who failed. Revelation 12:11 says this. We've referenced it before on this podcast. It says that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Meaning they overcame by the past work of Jesus and the declaration of the present work that he continues doing, his activity, God's activity in their life. The story. Ancient rabbis believe this, and you got to remember Jesus was a rabbi, that every time a story of God's provision, his protection, his pursuit of people was told, that the retelling of the story carried the same power that was present in the original event that created the first story. So this is why every time at Passover, they would retell the story of God bringing us through, and they would use that word, us. Like, they wouldn't just say, oh, this happened to our ancestors. They'd say he brought us through the Red Sea and delivered us with the plagues and brought us through to the promise. Because when they told that story, it ignited something in them, that he was present. He could do the same thing again. This is why you've probably been sitting in church and you hear somebody tell a story of a financial breakthrough. And in the telling of the story, something ignites in you that you go, oh, I like God probably could provide for me too. Or you hear about a relational rift and then a prodigal comes back home, or two friends are reconnected, or a marriage is reignited, or an addiction is overcome, and you can somehow sense faith rising in the room that this could be fixed. And it's somehow the waiting, the failing, all of it, and people telling the story, like it just ignites. Does it make sense? So let's tie it around. Man, what is our minute? What is our time clip?
30 and a half.
Oh,
you were on it, dude.
That's gold.
You were on it.
So, I started dialoguing about last episode 18, 19 about stronger. Biblical insights for mental masculinity and spiritual leadership. What qualifies me to teach it or share with it? Links down in the show notes. You can grab it. I think this. I've been through some stuff and learned it the hard way, and so I can tell you from the trench. Hey, this is actually true. Like I knew it in the book, and then you go through it, and you're like, oh man, you don't have to go down through there. And I think this whole thing about divorce and marriage and igniting relationships and loving your wife and leading the ladies that you've been charged to lead, the daughters, man, you see it important now more than ever, especially in our culture. I think you look and you go, some of the other things that are on the website about overcoming performance and getting to a place of rest and grace and identity. I think you look into it, what's the qualifier? It's grace. It's that so often the weight it creates all those 7 things that we dialogued about last episode and this. It's the weight is where the prayer gets answered the correct way. The weight is where the people come into your orbit. It's the weight where preparation and skill rise, where provision pulls together, where the plans get matured, where the patience grows, where the passion increases. And sometimes it's just that the failure, because of grace, seems to be the platform that God can use you to make the biggest dent, the most major difference. You see? My prayer for you is that the Lord bless you, keep you, that He be gracious, make His face of favor shine upon you, that if you are going through a season of struggle, leaning towards a promise, a pursuit that God has placed on your heart, keep pushing through. That may very well be the thing that the enemy thought would disqualify you, but that God has ultimately overqualified you for. Grace and peace.